Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome to episode 1 of The Paddock Live. How are you all doing? Here I am, Nick here from Club Racing UK. I am going to start this off with just a big hello. We're going to get underway and talk about what the new show is about. If anyone hasn't seen it, we did a pre-show on Sunday just about the fact that we're bringing the live show back. But yeah, here we are back with a live show, new look. You will get Steph in the next episode. Unfortunately, you can't join us tonight. So yeah, I am going to be your host of the evening. We've got some news to cover. We've got some fantastic guests a little later on. They're actually eagerly waiting in the background. So we'll just get on, say hello to everyone. I'm going to calm my nerves again, and then we'll just go through and see how everyone's doing. I can see comments are already flying in, so why not say hello to some people? Here we go. Good evening, Wolf Tracks Racing. Hope you guys are well. I've seen a picture from you guys of the TV that you've got me on. I feel sorry for you because you've got my massive face on there. So, yeah, and then we've got YouTube Mikey G as well. Good evening, Mikey. How you doing? So, yeah, welcome back to The Paddock Live, a new show that we're going to be bringing out. This is episode 1. We've got 3 shows lined up before the end of Christmas. It's going to be, so tonight is going to be for the RAF Motor Racing team. We're going to be talking to them a little bit about their Burkett, how they've got on with that, and they've also got a really exciting project that they're going to be on board talking about in a second. Blimey, comments are flying in, so give me just a second while I get the hang of this. As I say, for anyone who didn't see the pre-show already, I'm new to this. Steph usually hosts this kind of stuff, and I just talk over it. I'm actually in charge of all the buttons and gizmos, so we'll see how that all goes as well. But yeah, lots more comments. Hello, everybody. Oh, hello, all swear. Hope you guys are well. Got Matt Holmes as well. How's it going? Long time no speak. How you doing, mate? And we've got Simon V on as well. Hi, Nick. I know, Stefan. Glad to catch your show. We'll be diving in and out as making dinner. Yes, a lot of people eating dinner right now. Whether or not 7:30 is a good idea, not entirely sure, but I've eaten my dinner, so I'm all good there. Oh, look at that. Here we go. We've got Jake as well, one of our ambassadors. Nick in charge of the buttons. Oh, no. Yeah, so this might go horribly wrong. I might just cancel everybody off, and then you can have your Tuesday evenings back. But so far, so good. I think this is working well. I've done a little pre-show earlier on in the, like I say, Sunday we did that, and it all seemed to work well, and there was a good response as well. So fingers crossed. Lots of people have been asking about getting the live show back. So yeah, this is it. We're going to be doing it every 3 weeks on a Tuesday evening. We believe Tuesday evening is probably the best time. The dust has settled usually from a race weekend. Tuesdays are pretty boring as well, aren't they? So, and then obviously people start getting ready for Wednesday, Thursdays for the coming weekend. So yeah, we think Tuesdays quite well. Hopefully 7:30 works for everybody else. But yeah, come and yeah, get your comments in. Come and say hello. I've got a few. We're going to do a news feature in a minute. I'm just going to have a drink and stuff like that. As I say, I'm going to have a quick go through. Got loads and loads of comments coming in. This is brilliant. So like I say, I've never usually played with the buttons. Steph usually dealt with that in the past. And yeah, so lots more coming in. We've got another one here from Duncan Harris. Hi, Nick. Great to have your podcast back. Thank you very much, buddy. Mentioning that it's a podcast, we say it's the Paddock Live. This will be available as a podcast on all good StreamYard or stream podcast features afterwards. I believe Spotify. We're waiting for Apple, iTunes and things like that to accept it. So once that happens, you'll be able to then listen back to it as well. So if you don't get enough of me live and my wonderful face, you can have a listen to me in your cars or at work, things like that. So, but yeah, fingers crossed, this will be pretty good. Who have we got here? We've got Multi-Hobbyman as well. So we'll be putting this on Facebook and YouTube, just so you know. So the good thing is now, I think the platform we use is now updated. So we never used to get people's names. Now we get people's names. So from YouTube and Facebook, Multi-Hobbyman, outside in the cold, building a cart. That there is commitment. Well done, mate. I'm not. I'm sat in a nice warm, hosting this brilliant show. So yeah, this is really good. Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to get into some news. We will put in some. This show will upgrade as we go. So we'll put a nice little news feature going in the future. Hold on. Let's do one more comment. Hello, Megan. Hello. Glad you guys are back. I'm missing being in orange. Bring on 2024. I know. One more. Wow, there's 2 more races this year, which we'll cover in a minute. Obviously, there's a big one going on this weekend, such as the Race of Remembrance. And the good thing is our guests have actually found the time tonight to come on and talk to you guys about their projects, even though they're full steam ahead getting ready for the weekend. So you have to give them a massive thanks when they come on for this. So yes, right, we're going to get into the news. So as you may have seen at the weekend, the Brands Hatch truck, well, there was truck racing at Brands Hatch. Unfortunately was cut short for a few people. Thankfully, everyone was okay. There's plenty of videos going around. I couldn't get one uploaded in time, but you may have seen there was a bit of an incident with some of the trucks, obviously destroyed some of the barriers leading up to Graham Hill Bend. But yeah, so truck racing was on the weekend at Brands Hatch. Pretty much the final. Obviously, you had an amazing fireworks show afterwards. But yeah, you had the likes of the Legends on, the Virtue Minis were on, pickup truck racing, and you also had the Junior Saloons on the weekend. So that was a good one. They were rounding out their year. Again, been hectic years for all of them. And then also head over to Silverstone. You had the Walter Hayes Trophy as well going on, which was awesome to see. Always a good race there. And to be fair, I've since become quite the fan of the Formula Ford series. I'm not really a single-seater fan. I shouldn't admit that, but I'm not. But yeah, just watching that, was some fantastic racing going on there. And then they were also joined by the likes of the Monopostos. And then you had the, the Pumpkin Smash? The Pumpkin Smash all-comers race as well, which was awesome to watch too. So yes, so what we got coming up now. So this weekend, as I said earlier on, you've got the Race of Remembrance this weekend. Fantastic race, brilliant cause. As I mentioned earlier, you've got our two guests that will be on in a bit. They'll be racing a little later on. In fact, like I say, they are before. So we did a little pre-get together at like 7 o'clock this morning, this evening, sorry. And David was actually pulling the fuel out of his car still. So these guys have like down tools so they can come and talk to us about that. But yeah, let us know if you're at the Race of Remembrance this weekend. It's something that we want to do in the future. And as mentioned, we might do it with our ambassadors next year. So we'll see how we get on with that one. And then the only other race we've got then for the rest of the year is the Plum Pudding, which is at Mallory, obviously Boxing Day. So yeah, race season's officially over, guys, really, after this weekend. Where's that gone? That is just absolutely flown by. So we're going to try and keep you entertained, I would say, over the next, we got 6 months, really, 6 and a bit months now to get our cars ready, everything else ready and sorted for 2024. But you know what it's like. It'll fly around and we'll all be still fixing our cars 1 week to go before race season. And I've had it before where people have said they've been fitting their engines the night before a race season. So good old club racing at its finest. So so we'll be keeping you entertained. Hopefully, as I say, we've got 3 shows this year. We're going to do this show tonight, and in 3 weeks' time, we're going to do our ambassador sign off. Get them, because we haven't actually done a show. We haven't actually done a live show since December last year. So it's been nearly a whole year since we actually did a live show. So we're going to sign off our ambassadors, bless them. They've had a fantastic year. So we'll get them on for the show in 3 weeks' time. And then on, I think it's December 19th, we'll go do a Christmas special. We'll get everyone together, knees up. Christmas jumpers are mandatory. Everybody has to have a Christmas jumper on. And then, we'll just round out our years. We want to talk about, your highs and your lows, what's been happening, what's not been happening. I've done 0 racing this year, which is really disappointing, but I'll hopefully be back next year with the Vectra project as well. So, but yeah, come for that show. Get in touch if you want to as well. Just, we can add some pictures up. We can get some comments up, show your highs and lows. So yeah, we'll sign off December 19th with the final, and hopefully we'll have our awards ceremony as well. For obviously we've got 7 awards going on at the moment. For anyone who hasn't seen them, they're absolutely going off the charts. We've had so many people joining in on the paddock at the moment, voting for their favorite driver. So you've got driver of the year. First and foremost, let's get into this actually, because it's quite in depth. So we've got 7 awards. First one mainly is the driver of the year award. So this is quite the accolade to end up having. I will say it is sponsored by, let me find the picture. There we go. So this one is sponsored by Marketing Delivery. So a massive shout out to Jeremy and his team. They're going to sponsor our driver of the year with a £500 or up to £500 entry fee for their 2024 race season. So all the nominations are already in. If you haven't seen it already in the Facebook Paddock group that we do, they're all pinned at the top. So there's a list of drivers that were all nominated months ago or last month. And then it's just a case of just liking or reacting to your favorite driver. And there's 2 or 3 of them still in the mix right now. It's gone absolutely nuts. There's no clear favorite at the moment, so it's really good. But yeah, so the winner of that will win a fantastic prize from Marketing Delivery of a race entry fee for next year. I'll just grab a drink because it's hard work talking this much. You've also got the best series and championship. So again, there's 2 or 3 in there that are obviously just booming. Again, it's just like and share. You can pop on at any time you want. You can vote for as many as you want as well. There's nothing stopping you voting for more and more and more. But obviously, whoever's got the most votes at the end of it is going to be the winner. You then got Save of the Year. We've got about 8 or 9 entries in that, and there are some pretty hairy moments there. So you've got that one as well. Best looking car was incredibly popular. I think we've had over, I think it was about 45, 46 entries for that one. That one's absolutely going nuts, but there's some fantastic looking race cars in that, guys, honestly. Yeah, just absolutely brilliant. And then you've also got the best looking grid. It's a bit close to best series or championship, but the best looking one, obviously, got the best looking cars on the grid. There's a couple on there that are absolutely flying off the handle as well. I've got my personal favorites as well for these, by the way, but I'm not voting. None of us are voting. It's all up to you guys for voting for your favorites. You've then got Unsung Hero. Now, every time we've done that Unsung Hero award, it's obviously always gone to the likes of the Marshalls, the recovery crews and things like that. This time we've changed it a little bit, so it's an actual individual. That's not me discounting the fact that all of our marshals and everyone aren't fantastic. We absolutely know this. This is why we launched our Marshals Matter program as well. But yeah, so this is for an individual that stands out, a team member that's like absolutely worked their ass off all year without fail, never wanted for anything, kept your championship hopes alive, all of these kind of people. So yeah, there's quite a few on there now. And it's quite funny just watching them all still racing, even though like race season is practically over. And then the new one for this year, we've got the photographer of the year. We all look bloody glorious because of these fantastic photographers that take our pictures throughout the year. I know, they sit in all weathers, still snapping away, making sure you got some fantastic pictures to look back on. So yeah, so we wanted to give a little shout out to the photographers of the year. And again, there's some fantastic entries there. We've not only put any pictures up, but yeah, there's all the guys on there that are doing, really well for that. So I'm super excited about these awards. And what I will say as well is all of our awards, the trophies will be sponsored by Uncle Luke's. So Uncle Luke's has been a partner of Club Racing UK for a fair while now. And yeah, him and his team got in touch with him. And I was like, look, we want some fantastic trophies this year. And to be fair, they've done the trophies last year. They did some plaques last year, but this time we're going to go for proper trophies because they're fancy and we like trophies. So yeah, massive shout out to Uncle Luke's for sponsoring the trophies. So yes, fingers crossed. If you're a winner, you'll get a trophy as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to actually bring up a little bit of information really, because it's not really news, but for some people, obviously 2023 is now coming to an end. 2024 is obviously not far away. What are we today? This November 7th, I think it is today. But for some people, they may not know this, but next year, I'm just going to bring the picture up for you. I don't know if you can see that. And again, sorry for our podcast listeners. They're not going to be able to see the picture. But as of next year, some of your helmets are going to be out of date. I brought this picture up here from nickygris.com. You may know the name there. But yes, so your SA 2010 helmets are actually not going to be valid after this year. So just a little heads up, really. I'll leave that picture up there for a bit for anyone who is still looking. Anyone who is listening and wants to know more about this, I have got this picture saved. So give us a shout. But yes, check your helmets. You know how MSA, FIA, etc. like to obviously they like to keep these things safe and all of that jazz. But yeah, SA 2010s will be going out of date at the end of this year. So definitely check your helmet. I'll be completely honest. I need to check mine because I actually don't know when the date of mine is. What I will say is all helmets should have this stamp or should have information on them. Be worth Googling your particular helmet and finding out where it should be. I know mine, because I've checked in the past, it's like buried under some of the foams. It might not be obvious where your info label is. So just be sure, guys, you don't want to rock up 2024 ready to do a race season, and then suddenly your helmet's not safe, and obviously scrutineers and things like that will be absolutely shit hot on this for next year. Now, I think that pretty much sums up. Let me just go through my notes. Like I said, I do apologize. You're going to have to see the top of my head for a little bit whilst I look down at my notes. The last bit of news, actually, what I'll do actually save me waffling. I'll go to some more comments. What we got? Oh, here we go. So let me bear with me. Oh, look at that. We've got someone from Cyprus. So hello, Alexander Smith. Can't wait to see David Russell's hair. Now, I can tell you now, he is smiling in the backstage at the moment. You won't see that yet, but I'll let him get you back for that one in a minute. And then, yeah, I thought it was you, Matt, to be fair. And there we go. So Tom Davies' highlight of the weekend was definitely the Legends. They're always a fantastic race series to that. I would love to have a go on one of those one day, but I think I'd need a sunroof for those. And then also Tom will be going to the Race of Remembrance. Oh, he'll be watching it from home, sorry. So I will be as well. Hopefully I am working this weekend annoyingly. But yeah, I'll definitely be watching it. It looks like a fantastic thing. These guys that we're going to have on in a minute, I'm going to bring them on in just a second. I've got one more thing to talk about. I know that these guys have been doing it over and over and over and over again. So these guys will be fantastic to talk to about it. And then, yeah, and then last comment, and then we'll get the guys on and talk about the main feature of the evening. And that is, there you go, Jake Richardson is absolutely, Paul Rice is one for our unsung heroes. So, guys, go on there, see who's on there. If it's somebody you know, someone you care about, get your votes in. The votes for the awards will shut on November 30th. That'll be end of. I will shut off all the likes and everything like that, count everybody up, and then I'll get in touch with all the people that have won. So yes, you've got till November 30th for that. It's a little while yet to go. Right, shall we get the main bill underway? Let me just double check in the background. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So before we get underway, let me find the picture. Again, we're going to add some little, we'll add in little bits to introduce people and make it a bit more, we'll hype it up a little bit more as such. Comments, there we go. Like I say, I'm still getting the hang of this. So, right. Anyway, right, let's get the main one underway. Last one. Sorry, no. Ambassadors program for 2024 is now open. Obviously, we've had 3 amazing ambassadors this year. We will be signing off the show with them in 3 weeks' time. But yeah, we've opened the program up again. So if you're interested in being a club racing ambassador for next year, get in touch. There is a thing on the website now. You can just click on that and it'll give you all the information you need. And then, yeah, you can come and race with us for next year. We're going to be toying with doing either the Burkett or Race of Remembrance. So we'll see about that. And then we'll do a pre-season track day with them along with some other bits. But yeah, that is now open. I haven't added the info down here, but I can add the email address and how you can sign up. But I'll do that for next time. So yes, let's get underway. Right. Shall we invite our guests in? First and foremost, should see if they give me a thumbs up. Chris and David, if you can hear me, are you guys ready to be brought in? There we go. We got thumbs up. Right then, guys. So I would like to introduce here we go. So from the Royal Air Force Motor Racing Team, please welcome David Russell and Chris Slater. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Hey, that worked. Yes. Yeah, I'm good. I think that went quite well. I'm a little bit nervous at first, trying to go through my notes and talk to people and everything like that. Yeah, good. I can multitask.
Yeah, it went absolutely fine. I think you're doing yourself discredit there. For someone who doesn't push the buttons, as you said, I think it's going all right.
Yeah, so like I said, we did the pre-show on Sunday, and I've actually never seen this this hub before. I always used to do it on my phone, and the guys used to deal with that. So yeah, I'm still learning, but yeah, it proves like a multitask really. So it's doing all right. So yeah, welcome. Good evening, gentlemen. Chris, can you hear us all right? I don't know. He's. Are you thinking about
Speechless.
He's speechless. It's not his first rodeo here either. Right? We've had him on before, but
I think it's the quietest I've ever seen him.
Wow, to be fair,
it's
you work
working
with
now.
him. There we
there he
go.
is. Here
Hello,
he
Chris.
is.
Right. So, gentlemen, so a lot of people are probably wondering why we've got you on. We have got a few things we want to talk about. First of all, obviously, we mentioned the Burkett earlier. You guys were pretty successful last weekend at the Burkett Relay, were you not?
Yeah, it went rather well.
Rather well. How rather well?
Yeah, it's how do you sort of play it down a little bit? Yeah, we went there obviously to win the handicap, and we won the handicap and subsequently also retained the inter-services, which is RAF versus Army Navy. So yeah, it was a successful one for the whole team.
Oh, brilliant. So, do you know what, actually, that was quite funny you say that, because I wanted to bring up this picture that you did send to me, and I was going to ask, and I'd like to put it to everybody else as well. So obviously, as you say, you've got your inter-championship. You got your inter-championship there, and obviously you won it. I'm sure. Do you let the Army boys and the Navy boys and everyone else know that you're the best ones?
What do you say, Chris? I don't really think we need to say anything. They kind of just know it in silence, really.
That's just me trying to stir the pot there, by the way, everyone. But
it's a mega atmosphere though between the three services. It's obviously really competitive, but we club together pretty well.
No, it's really good. Like I say, I've seen some of the pictures and stuff that David sent across, and I take my hat off to anybody that works in the services or anything like that. I mean, I will openly admit I definitely couldn't deal with the kind of stuff that you guys have to deal with, but I love watching you guys. I say, Chris, we've met before, haven't we? And I've seen you at Autosport and the way you run things, and obviously speaking to David and seeing some of the pictures and the things you do with like your training programs, and obviously we're going to talk about Project Flywheel this evening. Things like that. I totally doffed my cap that isn't on my head, but you know what I mean. Like how well you guys are a very well-oiled machine, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've had some practice over the years.
We've got a huge variety of people though. Like they're from all over the country, and they share a common interest, which is going racing and enhancing different skill sets, which they're then able to take into the workplace, whether they be engineering or logistics or just more from a team building perspective.
It's good.
It's quite a nice feeling, as Chris has said. We get people that they might have an interest in motor racing, i.e. they like watching it on the telly, and before you know it, they're learning how to maintain, run a race car and what's required to make it safe and competitive, and then before they know it, following our training program that we've developed over the years, they can find themselves in a race car, which is probably one of the prouder sides of what we do, is seeing somebody enter a sport that they maybe perceived was beyond their reach, and it's quite a pleasure to be able to help make people realize that.
Yeah, no, like I say, I absolutely love that. And like I say, going on about talking about your training and things like that, because it must be quite a nice break for you guys as well, because obviously what you do is incredibly intense, I'd imagine. So I guess, which sounds daft really, because motorsport is intense as well, but obviously for you guys, is it a nice little break, a nice little, a bit of a break away from the real life? Obviously for you guys.
Hello? Yeah. It is a break, and the way we sort of describe it is time away for sport, and being able to get away from the working environment, as you said, the stresses and the pressures that most people are under in their primary roles, to go away with a like-minded group of individuals and either learn a new sport, take part in it for the first time, or develop your skill set if you're already quite proficient in it. It's quite a valuable thing to be able to do, and Certainly one of the huge benefits of being in the military, and as we've said, all three services have something very similar, and well, we're very lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah. No, I love it. So I've got some pictures here. Like I say, we'll just go through them quickly, and obviously maybe you can just give our viewers just a little insight into what's going on here. Obviously, all hard at work there. All sat on a nice sofa.
Everyone's probably asleep listening to me talk rubbish.
I don't believe that for a minute.
That's why it's taken from behind, so you can't see it. So this is our grassroots engagement program that we started off a couple of years ago now, was it, Chris?
Yeah, this time last year, well, just after Race of Remembrance last year, where we took some of the support crew and got them on track for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, so with this program, we take some simulators, do some synthetic training with people that, as Chris has said, have never been on circuit before. Give them a bit of familiarisation to say Snetterton on iRacing, and then the following day take them to that physical circuit and do in real life coaching with them, with somebody sat next to them and helping them, familiarise themselves with what it's like to drive on track, and then with the aim to see sort of talent spot in a way and see who could potentially go on to race to Remembrance. So 3 of the people in that picture racing at Race Remembrance this weekend.
Oh, fantastic! So, like I say, you mentioned you take them onto the sim rigs as well. So that's a pretty decent looking setup you got going there. And then you go from there. You got some more guys here keeping an eye on it. I love that. I love the fact it's no ordinary job. It certainly isn't. We were saying before we came on, didn't we, about the jobs we do, and like it's not very often I get trumped on my day job as a roller coaster engineer. You guys get to do some pretty cool stuff, and then this is it. And I guess this is you guys one-to-one coaching. Yeah, so you guys will be doing your one-to-one training here in car, I guess, and ready to head out onto circuit.
Yeah, so that's one of our. He's ex-military, but he's quite a proficient driver. A gentleman called Martin Astley, who very kindly gave us his time to come down and instruct our novice drivers. So that's him using the international symbol of the fake steering wheel to show people of what they need to do as they're going around the track.
That is brilliant. To be fair, I do love that. So for our podcast listeners that can't see the show, that is definitely the international symbol for steering wheel. But I don't think I've ever held a steering wheel that small personally. But yeah, no. Like I said, I love what you guys. And actually, I've got this other picture here. Look at those. So Chris, I've got questions for you here. These 116s, are these the ones that were being wrapped at Autosport that time when we met you?
So the middle car, 99, that was, I think that was the third ever 116 trophy car that was built. So that was the first one, which we did in 2019 at Autosport, where we rolled in a standard road car, and over the course of 3 days, we converted it from that road car into a race car to demonstrate RF engineering trades. And so you have different trades that work on different parts of an aircraft or support systems. So we had a mechanical engineer who look after a structure on an airframe and engines. They fitted the roll cage, and a general mechanic fitted the suspension, and we went through to showcase it. And it was a really good physical engagement, but it also worked really well from an online media reach.
Yeah, no, it was really great.
And then in 2020, we then built the second car, which was the other blue car there. We did the same thing, and it got wrapped again at the show. We were next to the MIA lounge, so we had a matching pair, and then an opportunity arose last year where we took a bare body shell that had the roll cage mounts in ready, and during the biggest air show in Europe, well, biggest military air show in Europe, we built that black car, which we use as a training vehicle to allow new people to get on track without having the pressure of being in a liveried car if they're not so confident. So they're kind of not really recognisable. So there's no pressure to behave as if you're a racing driver.
Yeah. Oh, we're all racing drivers here. None of us behave like we're racing drivers, though, do we? Do we?
Not all the time.
But yeah, I mean, like Dave said, that photo was from the GRE event. The physical experience that followed the simulators, and that got 6 people on track for the first time. Like Dave says, three of them are raring to go this weekend, which they'll be driving that middle car.
Oh, that's great. So how many cars are you guys fielding this weekend?
In the big race, we've got 3. We've got 2 116s, one with novice drivers and one with a more experienced crew.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the small race, we've got 4 cars.
Nice. I'm looking forward to this. Having never been to the race of remembrance, I'm looking forward to seeing how that all pans out for you guys. So we see loads of people are going to be there. So yeah, looking forward to that. Right, what we will do is, so just going back to the Burkett, obviously we just have a little chat about there. Who's this handsome fella here?
Oh God, I'm going to get some stick for this, aren't I? Yeah, that's that was Netterton. So my first race of the season, but our military championships, the Armed Forces Race Challenge with 750 Motor Club. I think it was rounds 5 and 6. That was the first time the synthetic fuel car went out, but that's the one that I drove at the Burkett.
Nice.
Yeah,
obviously so there, obviously you touch on the subject of synthetic fuels. For anyone who's listening, eagerly waiting, we will be getting onto that subject in just a minute. I'm just going to flick through a couple of your other team pictures. Obviously, there you are in full flight.
Yeah, so that's me close behind Alex Smith, who commented about my hair from Cyprus.
Oh, right.
He races his Integra, and as much as we have a bit of a banterous relationship, he's a hell of a driver. Unfortunately, he's listening, so now he knows that.
No,
that's
also
his
nominated
Integra.
for the best looking car of the year.
He is, yeah. Get the votes in for it.
Yeah, guys, like I say, if you're listening, if you like the look of the Integra.
Yeah, so Alex was another one of the drivers in the team. He started the race, and he did really, really well in the first stint. Drove phenomenally. There's no other way of putting it. And then he went out for a second stint a little bit later on, and he did the same thing. He was on it all day.
Nice. Not well sorted cars though, are they? What you guys are running. I love the eclectic mix that you guys have all got as well. So
yeah, it's a proper club sort of racing feel to it. It's people with cars that they're either passionate about, like the Integra, or cars that are not so glorious budgets can afford to run. That's a lad called James Flint. He's an aircraft technician, mechanical. And that's him racing his Fiesta. He was in the Burkett. It's his first season of racing, so the Burkett was actually his 7th race. He just got rid of his novice cross.
Oh, brilliant!
And he's a driver with a lot of promise, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Good. Like I say, a well sorted car and a ST150. I love this as one as well. And now I know, Chris, you used to have. Have you still got your 306?
In component form, a blue one, but there's another model on its way in which will come onto with flywheel, I think.
Oh, okay, sounds good. But do you know what? I'm a bit of a sucker for a 306. I'm not really a massive hatchback fan. I'm definitely more towards your car, David. But and then also just to throw a complete curveball into into what you've got here. You got this beautiful. Is it a Ginetta G20? This one?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a Ginetta G20.
Beautiful.
A guy called Cy Frown. He's raced in the military team for pretty much the same amount of time as Chris, hasn't he? It's his first season with the car. He's been sort of trying to get used to it throughout the year, and trying to iron out sort of mechanical issues that you can sometimes get when you get a car from somebody. And the previous guy, Alex Waldeck,
That
it was
one
also
looks like it's the model with compression.
oh yeah, his engine let go during the qualifying run for the Burkitt, so he took a support role, shall we say, for the rest of the race.
I definitely feel for him for losing compression in an engine. That's for sure. we won't talk about my engine. We don't need to talk about that. And then obviously, so that's obviously just the Burkitt team of cars you've had there. But obviously, you guys do a full race season throughout the year. So for anyone who isn't aware, obviously you've got the Armed Forces Race Challenge. I think that's possibly cut a bit off there, isn't it? But obviously you guys have a full season of worth of racing, don't you? So how's that been for you this year?
We've done really well. We've fielded the most cars that we've ever done, which, as Dave alluded to, with the training program, we've had 7 novices on track this year. So 7 people that have never done any racing, and that's Air Force alone. The Army and the Navy I don't think they've brought as many numbers in as what we've done, but from an individual championship, we weren't competing because we suffered early on in the year with mechanicals and broken parts, including broken body parts.
Yeah,
which meant that we weren't able to put a driver forward to compete for the championship, but we were able to be the most consistent team over the year. So we won the team points Air Force by a relatively healthy amount.
Which, like I say, I guarantee for you guys is definitely a bit of an up yours to the rest of the guys, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that. There's lots of calls of get him on the dyno whenever certain cars at the front of the class. But
it's always, it doesn't matter what series you're in, you'll always get that.
It's all said in jest. So as Chris said before, it is genuinely a really great atmosphere, and that's why we're kind of inundated with people that want to come and try and get on the grid, because it is, said it multiple times, it's kind of a series that has been created by a lot of work from Chris, that personifies club motorsport. It's people with limited budgets doing racing, out the back of their van and their trailer. It's what it should be.
Yeah. Again, I say that is the absolute onus of why we set up Club Racing UK. It's for those what we class as club racers, that are doing it. The weekend warriors as such, tinkering away in their little sheds day in, day out, and then you're all meeting up with your friends at the weekend and just having a good time. That's what it should be about, and that's what it really is about. And I love that. Like I say, I'll follow you guys, what you've been getting up to, and you can definitely feel that in your paddock for sure. So it's a testament to you guys for sure. I will just go back though. I will say, so you guys are obviously very good at what you do, but we have learned that, David, there is something you're not very good at.
Yeah,
possibly was the reason you didn't get a chance to race for the championship.
Yeah,
if anyone, I say if anyone's squeamish, there's nothing really to. But
no,
you can talk us through this one. What happened?
Yeah, so I was on a ski exped, and I ran out of talent. And unfortunately, it's happened to me once before in a car, and I ended up in a gravel trap. But unfortunately, ski slopes don't tend to have them.
No.
So I ended up with quite a lot of metal work in my leg. But say la vie. It was bad enough having to call my wife, but then having to call Chris to say that I can't start the season in the synthetic fuel car was probably a more awkward conversation.
Yeah, that's certainly. I wouldn't like to make that call to him.
But to be fair, it was obviously full of support. No ribbing at all. No no
super
Mickey taken
supportive.
or anything. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
just like when you put the car in the gravel trap at Vale in the Burkett and lost the inter-services for the team. Nobody mentions that.
No one ever mentions that, do they?
No one, no.
That was in 2020.
You know, no one
It's
ever
funny
mentions the good things you do they? Ever?
No, they certainly don't do that. The following year, though, after putting it in the gravel, a certain Alex Smith primed up as I drove on into Silverstone. A marshal flagged me down, and I thought I was in trouble. I thought my car was coming off the trailer or something, and he handed me a picture that Alex had taken, screen grabbed from the stream, and primed the marshal to ask me for an autograph.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I can never really get away from that.
Love that. That is top tier banter right there for sure.
Yeah,
So
good banter. He's obviously really busy.
What I'll do, guys, is I will just pop on to see if there's any comments aimed your way, and then what we'll do, we'll get on and obviously talk about Project Fly. We'll bring up some pictures. Oh, look at that. So we got a quick one from our ambassador here, Luca. Good evening, mate. Those lot have done amazing for me all year. Good luck to the future ambassadors. You'll love it. So that's obviously in regards to the ambassador program that's coming out. Oh, look at that. Totally worth the wait. Majestic.
Oh, Smith.
Love that. Oh, there we go. And then also you got here from Lloyd Huggins. Can your hair be nominated for Motorsport's Unsung Hero?
Okay.
Surely the product holding it up. I mean, I'm in no place to comment about hair here, so this is all on you guys.
It's a wig. I've let the cat out of the bag now. It's a wig.
Right. So
mine isn't.
That's it for comments, giving you guys some jip for now. So let's get on to the main part of this conversation. Project Flywheel. So you've touched on it a couple of times. It's a word that keeps jumping up in obviously a lot of paddocks of late. We all know it's 2023 going on to 2024. Fuel's running out, everything, all of this jazz. Everyone's talking about electric cars of the future, and then you've got people teasing the idea of hydrogen fuels, and you've got other people that want to stop oil altogether and we must walk everywhere. Obviously, that's never going to happen. But you guys, amongst some other people as well, but we're mainly focusing on you guys. You've come up with an alternative. Now, I'm dead keen to hear about this because I am a avid petrol head. I'm definitely not a fan of electric. Hopefully, my comments are going to light up here that everyone agrees with us. We may even bring out a T-shirt similar to this. About saving the fuel, combustion engine as such. But yeah, so obviously we've spoken a couple of times already, David and Chris, to be fair, we've spoken in the past about getting on and actually talking about Project Flywheel and the synthetic fuels that we keep hearing about. So guys, I'm going to hand it over to you guys to just obviously have a little tell us about it. First of all, like how the project came about, obviously you guys, where it all came from, obviously you brought it into motorsport. Hopefully the comments will light up. When they do, I'll start firing comments at you afterwards. But let's go for it. Let's talk about Project Flywheel.
So as a association, motor racing is just a seventh of the organisation. So we do motor racing, rallying, karting, rallying, and enduro and motocross trials, and then we have sim racers as well, who we try and poach and put them into real cars. And a couple of years ago, when government started launching net zero targets and initiatives, the Air Force committed to going net zero towards the first half of this decade, this century, sorry. And we put together an idea of what we could try and do, but there was no fuel available at the time that was effectively licensed by the Blue Book as a control fuel, as a pump fuel definition. And then and then a little while later, when fuel was available, there was then an innovation initiative within the Air Force to allow people to do innovative work that could contribute towards our prime output, which is obviously defence. So we knocked together a proposal to try and understand how an alternative fuel would work in a petrol engine, because whilst yes, we operate aircraft, but to operate aircraft we have a significant amount of internal combustion engines, whether that be for lifting equipment or ground power sets for aircraft ground power sets or ground power sets for the field. So we wrote a proposal that we could use motorsport as a way to run some engines on an alternative fuel at the absolute limit, much like other forms of motorsport developed for road car development. We put this idea together to do this, and it was we were trying to find out some different things. So how does it affect the performance? What adaptations are needed to be made, and what's it going to do? What's it going to do long term to the engine? It's actually BSEN 228, which is that's the definition that you see on a fuel pump. Okay. If you go down to Tesco's or Shell, BSEN 228 is the standard, which is E5 and E10. So it should be a like for like. It smells different, and it has a reasonably high alcohol content. So because the two cars that we chose, which were Dave's car and then a 3SX, and they were both quite old, we went with fresh fuel tanks that were certified. Obviously with safety in mind, if it was going to be a bit more corrosive than a normal fuel. So we put some fuel tanks in them and put a different ECU on to allow us to do back-to-back comparisons from dynos. So Dave's car is the only one that's running at the moment, because the other one was delayed earlier on in the year, and then I've been away from the car. So hopefully we'll have it out at Autosport in some way, shape or form, maybe even finishing the build at the show. But the car has, so technically it's had a fuel tank, it's had an ECU I think it'll take up to about 5 maps, that ECU, but and it's got wideband lambda to allow it to auto trim to meet the target AFR. But the car was mapped with fossil fuel, with E5. It was V power, which I think is about 98, and the power curve was pretty much the same as what it was pre the fuel, which Dave's car's a 328, and it had been mapped by somebody that's has a quite good reputation in the scene for well, anything German really. And it was perfect for where Dave needed it to be, wasn't it, for power to weight.
Yeah, perfect.
So but what they saw when they swapped it, so they drained the fuel, flushed it through, and put the other fuel in. And what they saw was that the power was dropping off at the top end. But it was starting to lean off, so they were able to use more fuel. So the duty cycle on the injector above about 6,000 is 5% higher, but the peak power is identical. So it's just using a little bit more fuel to get the same effect, but the power then drops off ever so slightly less beyond the peak. Not a great deal, but if you look at a power graph, it's a little bit more drivable than what the original was. But I mean, I've not driven it, so Dave's the one that's been peddling it around. But apart from a few niggling problems that we had at the start, which you're bound to get with any fairly major work, then it's run pretty well on it, Dave.
Yeah. Firstly, like Chris has used the word "we" there. It's Chris's brainchild, Chris's project, and and innovative doesn't really come close. If you think it's the first car, as far as we're aware, we have to be careful. First car at club level in UK motorsport to be running synthetic fuel. It's been quite an impressive project. But yeah, in terms of driving the car, and I've said before that although the analogy doesn't really work, if you'd have blindfolded me, put me in the car, not told me anything had been done, I wouldn't have been able to tell a difference. Comparing for the year previously, lap times are slightly better, but I put that down to me just getting a little bit better this season compared to last. It's been completely reliable through 6 races of AFRC, the qualifying that goes with that. The results have been the same as the year before. It ran for 2 hours at the Birkett in one stint without even a slight indication that anything was not running normally. We had to add some additional cooling just as a precautionary measure, because after the first round at Snetterton, we noticed the temperature gauge was running ever so slightly hot. But from some investigation work done by Chris, he was pretty adamant that it was the ranging on the gauge being incorrect more than the car actually running hot. But just for a precautionary measure, we chucked a pull fan behind the radiator and put that on the thermostat, and had a wired switch on the dash just in case. But yeah, problem gone away, but we don't even think there was a problem in the first place.
I bet it's quite nerve wracking, isn't it? Like you say, if you're being the pioneer, aren't you? Effectively, of a new fuel or anything like that. When you're the pioneer, you're going to be on edge, surely. But
the only real risk was the engine. It's unknown, but you trust when you trust the person who's come up with the project, and Chris is he's very diligent when it comes to looking at whether it's going to work or not. And well, he's been right so far. All the indications show in phase 1, as we're calling it, are that it's gone really well. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. And phase 2 is where it gets either interesting or really boring. But we're lucky that we've got a chap called Dan Hardwick who's really interested in data and really interested in developing. And he's developed a tool that, as long as we can feed CAN data over the internet, he's developed a tool that'll do auto analytics. Tested on iRacing, because you can get a significant amount of data out of iRacing in a similar format as what you can out of something like an AIM system when you take the AIM network, the AIM CAN network, rather than the car CAN network. But so then the next phase, which we'll be doing on a circuit, not in a race situation, is that we'll be running the cars in the morning and in the afternoon between the different fuels, and we'll be taking oil samples, because there's a potential concern that the fuel can be diluting the oil, which is what some people have reported to us. And whilst it's not this fuel, but it's a different fuel, because it's much more potent, but they're using it as a control fuel in World Rally, which is its second season of running 100% non-fossil fuel. And they're running really high. They're running different oils, so they can run a high temperature to evaporate the fuel as it's going into the oil. So the next piece will be putting the cars together on track in the same conditions, same day. Whether we do synthetic fuel in the morning, fresh oil, take a sample, and put them out for a 1 hour stint, take another oil sample, and then take them out for another 1 hour stint, oil sample again, and then over lunch they'll get a fresh oil and filter with a flush through, and then we'll do the same. So the new oil they get sampled before they run, and then we'll run them on fossil fuel after they've been flushed through for an hour, and then the same again, so that we can then send the oil away for sampling to see if and how much it's deteriorating, or how much contamination, if any, it's getting. And then at the same time, the work that Dan's done will be able to highlight, because both cars will be closed loop on the wideband, so it'll be logging to the pits how much the ignition and fueling's been trimmed to meet the target AFR, and that'll give us an indication of how much the ECU is having to adapt, especially when we don't have an oil temperature sensor. Sorry, we don't have a fuel temperature sensor on it, but that's something that we probably need to look at. And we had quite a few good conversations at Autosport last year, and then if we can understand if it's changing, if the properties of the burn is changing dependent on the temperature of the fuel, although we're probably not going to experience high fuel temperatures because we've got real big tanks in them, so probably not as much as if we're running a 20 or a 30 litre tank. The fuel temperature is probably not going to rise that much, but we're just going to try and take as much data as we can. But the initial find is that you could put it in a road car and you won't notice a difference.
No.
But if you put it in a race car, you would expect to be losing a little bit on the top end.
Yeah, but we're not talking massive amounts, are we? But
no.
So it's good. So obviously, I say this is still very fresh. It's still a new word that you still see, synthetic fuels. So are you guys producing the fuel yourselves, or are you outsourcing the fuel from somewhere? And like I say, you're just running it in the club motorsport kind of thing. Obviously, future plan I would imagine would be to run it in your day-to-day use at work, and then even with the rest of the race car fleet follow suit as well. I mean,
there's a few different things going on across work, looking at different providers, but yeah, we're not providing it. We're using the same supplier that's supplying WRC as a control fuel supplier for this batch. We've already had some discussions with a UK-based manufacturer of fuel, but at the moment they're only at 95 RON. They don't have a solution to for a higher octane equivalence, which is quite a big undertaking for them, especially then to get it certified to the right standard that we could then run it, just to save us going to Motorsport UK for dispensation to run a non-control pump fuel. But yeah, our findings will go. Our findings will get fed back into the people that have endorsed the project from work, so that that can then be shared with other people in the wider enterprise to understand it. We're just in the process. We've just put an article into Motorsport UK that'll be going out in Revolution fairly soon, hopefully.
Nice, yeah.
And we'll have some representation of it at Autosport at the NEC in January.
Love it. It's definitely, like I say, it's definitely something I think a fair few people are going to be keeping an eye on. Obviously, we all know fuel prices are skyrocketing. Obviously, in the early stages, it's going to be, because I'd imagine at the moment, synthetic fuel is far more costly than your standard pump fuels at the moment. I mean, there will be a crossover in the years to come. I think me personally, I think the main thing is the fact that it just keeps the combustion engines alive, because obviously over time they're going to keep taxing fuel. The government are going to keep wanting to push alternative fuels, but right now, having the synthetic fuel option, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe most people will be behind that over sticking big Tesla motors in their 306 and BMWs, etc.
I think infrastructure, is a big one. And if you look at the infrastructure that's needed to run a synthetic fuel, it's already in place. But we certainly can't comment on what's going to happen. Apart from a personal guess. But from a motorsport fan, I can imagine the vast majority, the sound, you retain that, because, like I said, apart from the powered by synthetic fuel and the amount of PR that we've been doing, you wouldn't be able to tell that this car is synthetically powered. So yeah, we are where we are.
The cost is the limiting factor.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
When we purchased it, granted, fossil fuel was quite high, but it was about 5 times more expensive.
Okay. But this is the thing. So right now, as an actual alternative, it's not quite there. But like you say, it's still early days, isn't it? I mean, even the zero emissions, incentive in motorsport is relatively new. It's only come out in the last couple of years, isn't it? So,
But name
and it's not affected by oil price.
No.
True.
Oh, that's good. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's great. I mean, it'll probably be affected by something else, because someone, I'd imagine, would like to coin in on it at some point. But fingers crossed, it'll start balancing out.
You can't name a technology. You can't name anything that isn't at its peak in terms of cost at the start of its implementation. And as you both said, that cost will come down. Someone's got to jump first and prove the concept. And so far, it's proving good.
Well, I mean, there is other people out there already using it. I've seen Sebastian Vettel's out there running. I think at Festival of Speed this year, he ran his Mansell, was it the Mansell Formula One car, on his synthetic fuel. So it's I think your everyday petrol head is definitely behind this.
Same.
So the first time he drove that, the FW14B, that he drove that for the first time at British Grand Prix 22, running on the identical fuel that Williams Heritage were looking after the car on, and then it went up the hill on it this year.
I still, although it was running on synthetic fuel, it didn't look right that he was doing donuts in it. I'm sorry. I thought that was pretty ridiculous. I thought it was brilliant, but seeing his Mansell's Formula One car doing donuts outside the Festival Speed house was pretty impressive. I'll give him that.
Imagine a historic Formula One championship on synthetic fuel. There's a dream. But anyway, sorry.
No, that'd be great. So one thing I do want to touch on, obviously, is mainly because I'm curious. I don't know if anyone else is, but you say it's so obviously so far, like for like, it's pretty much exactly the same. You say it smells different. I'm curious as to what it actually smells like. No.
There's nothing else that I'd really like, and it's more alcohol content, so more, would you say, more almost white spirity than a traditional petrol smell, but it doesn't smell awful. I'd say it's more like a white spirit.
Right, I'm with you.
It doesn't evaporate the same either, does it? So if you spill a bit on the if you spill a bit on the ground with petrol on a warm day, it'll be gone in a minute. So, and this one doesn't.
Okay.
And as well, it's obviously a lot more expensive if you spill it, so we're naturally a lot more careful.
Not scooping it back up.
I haven't spilled any yet, Nick.
No. No, well, like I say, it's really promising for the petrol head, isn't it? So I will definitely be following. I think what we'll have to do, we'll probably have to get you guys on again next year, and maybe come back with your findings and stuff like that. So I've seen different things, like the new style synthetic fuels, like wash the bores, so you end up with cleaner, better explosions in the cylinders and stuff, because it actually gets rid of a lot of the old crud and deposits that standard fossil fuels will run. I've read something like that, but again, it's still very early days, isn't it? So yeah, it'd be good to get you guys back on at some point with some more findings in the future, for sure.
Always.
Yeah. Right then, guys. Well, I'll be honest, I've only had I've only had one comment in, and again, it's about your hair, David. So
Yeah, it's from there's a surprise. Is that Alex Smith again? Is it?
no, it wasn't actually. It's from a Mr. Jewis. I know this man.
Oh, what a guy!
And I mean, coming from him, he has some pretty special hair as well, doesn't he? Bless him.
He's a beautiful creature, Adam Jewis.
He is, bless him.
Finished
He's
behind
done
us
really
at
well.
Birkett.
Yeah,
What's that, sorry?
He finished behind us at the Birkett.
Did he? He finished behind us as well. We passed him on the A34. No. He's just slow, isn't he? It's because he's a Vauxhall driver. That's what it is.
Yeah, we've missed his.
He finished behind us this weekend as well.
Oh, there we go. Some fighting talk for Race of Remembrance, and guys. So, here you go. Oh, there you go. So we've got Simon V from YouTube here as well. I'll just bring up his comment as well. He's very supportive of you guys. So as I say, I think this is going to be something that comes out more. It's great to have guys like say the first car at club level to be racing on the synthetic fuel. So talking about it being early days, obviously you've got Race of Remembrance this weekend, and then that's pretty much race season done. What are your 2024 plans, or even 2025 plans as well going forwards?
Chris, being sort of like the brainchild of where we the projects that we come up with. Winter's always quite nerve-wracking because you never know what idea is going to come out that's going to take us in a completely awesome direction. But the racing plans next year, it'll be AFRC again, no doubt, because it's where the car belongs to be racing. And then just other stuff that we need to do for flywheel, be that just generic circuit time, just pounding around. And hopefully Chris will be on the grid next year in the other synthetic car, so we can have some plays. I don't think we've properly raced against one another yet, but it should be good.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. Yeah. What about you, Chris? Are you back over here now? I've seen you've moved out Italy way now, haven't you? Or you're out there for a bit?
Yeah, so I reside in southern Italy for a few years.
Nice.
Which is where work's taken me and the family. And yeah, so my season will be trying to make sure that Flywheel gets all the information that we want it to get, which we will write an article, a fairly in-depth article, probably mid next year, which we'll share online somewhere, which you'll be able to promote. And we've kind of hit a point with AFRC that it doesn't need to grow anymore. It's doing what it needs to do. It's that platform for encouraging mass participation for the three services, but we also include veterans and emergency services. So we'll keep that going. We've got some really good chats in the sidelines about AFRC at the moment to try and bring the costs down as much as possible for the competitors, because this year we were significantly under the market value, and wherever possible we managed to get some food and drink on for the guys as well, which is great because it brings everybody together in quite a good environment. The focus for the RAF team is, as it is with any of the military sports, is to try and defend that into services. So we just need to work out the best way of tackling the Birkett, because we've done it every year since 2006, which is the year that the RAF MSA Race Challenge started. And Martin, who was instructing with the international sign of a steering wheel, was one of the founding competitors of the RAF MSA Race Challenge, which grew from, I think it was 5 or 6 cars on a grid at Mallory in 06 to what it is now as the Armed Forces Race Challenge, which was, I think it was like the 9th biggest championship.
Nice.
In 2019, just before COVID. It was based on grid size. that is. And so we'll be sustaining that and trying to get as many novices as we can. But yeah, the Burkitt's where we need to just try and work out how we can take that experience from AFRC. Because a wise man once told me that if you win the Burkitt, you'll not be competitive again next year because it'll be worked out how you did it. And we won it. We won it back to back a few years ago. I think it was 12, 13. And we've but we just need to make sure that we're bringing other people in and we're making that opportunity for people, because that's the primary objective of the organisation, to encourage mass participation for people in the airports to get involved, and whether that's sitting as a seat to wheel interface or just getting out and doing something that's different on a weekend and learning new skill sets and dragging cars and trailers around the country. That's what our objective is, and getting people on track in that safe environment. We're really lucky to have some absolutely mega partners that assist us with that, and without those partnerships we simply wouldn't be able to operate at the level that we are. But we've got 2 matching 116 trophy spec cars out this weekend. We've got a Mark III MX-5 that's been really successful in Race of Remembrance previously, and that's coming out in a new livery. That's a livery because we're trying to do as much crossover as we can from sim racing, because we've got some really successful sim racers, and we also run a really successful sim racing championship which goes out live. That goes out towards the end of Q1 and runs for 10 weeks. Dave's not as good on a sim as he is in real life, and we've copied the livery over that the guys used last year in the Nürburgring 24, in the virtual Nürburgring 24 hours. That's been put onto an MX-5 with a hardtop. So we're unveiling that at Race of Remembrance, which will be pretty cool.
Brilliant. I'll definitely look forward to
once we've got it out of the way, we'll be looking at Race of Remembrance and seeing what we can do. We have an ambition to try and win that. And last year we were really unlucky, because at 6 hours we were 6 laps clear at 6 hours in a Caterham, and we lost an alternator. So we went from 6 laps clear, and we were stopping to change the battery every 20 minutes or so. And that was with friends of the show, actually. From
I was going to say, I do believe that's Callum McDougall, is it not?
Yeah, and we went from 6 laps clear to 7 laps behind. Callum's got a really good guy that works for him who took an alternator off a car in the showroom in Thirsk in North Yorkshire and set off driving, and Callum and his wife left Anglesey and met around Manchester, came back, and we'd actually just got the alternator fixed, but we swapped it for another one about 3:30 in the morning. But when the race started Sunday morning, we were 7 laps behind. So we'd lost 13 laps, and the guys managed to claw it back to only 4 laps from the lead. So we're really gutted, because it was something. It's always unpredictable, right? But the Burkitt, apart from losing the Ginetta in qualifying, the Burkitt went pretty much without a hitch, which is what's absolutely key. But so we have an ambition to win Race of Remembrance. It's arguably our most important race of the year. It's certainly an absolutely amazing experience, especially when we take 30 people alongside the Navy, and hopefully the Royal Engineers and maybe the Army team will be out with us next year. So to share Remembrance Weekend with those and the amount of veterans and supporters out, it's just a really mega weekend. Plus, it's obviously we're quite close to Mission Motorsport. It's an organisation that we've been involved with since it started, really.
No, brilliant. Like I said, it's a great cause, a great weekend. Like I said, we'll be watching for sure. You'll have to keep us posted on your how you get along. Annoying, I've got the day job this weekend, so I can't be there myself. But Well, what we'll do, guys, I'm going to round off. There's a few more comments here. I'll just, they are actually comments relating to the show tonight and not just your hair, David. So, yeah, as you say, Lloyd here, great to see something new in Club Motorsport, start something we'll all be doing in years to come, which I'd imagine, I say technology is always changing, isn't it? So we will see how that goes. Someone who we all know, I think, Mr. Mark Bates, comes with kind words. And then also we've got Anthony Vickers on our YouTube here. It'll be interesting to find the future of synthetic fuels. I think we're all keen, aren't we? We're all keen to see how it all goes. So, but yeah, so guys, what we'll do is I think we'll wrap up about now. And if you guys want to give a shout out to anyone, obviously, Chris, you just mentioned there some of the great partners that help you do what you get to do. By all means, you feel free to give them a shout out. If there's anything else you guys want to add, feel free. But no, fantastic show, guys. I really appreciate it, especially with such a busy schedule coming up this weekend. For you guys to take, over an hour, because we were on behind the scenes before we went live. So, for such busy guys to take your time out and come and have a little chat with us lot, it's much appreciated for sure.
Well, thank you for having us. I think if there's anybody out there, if there's anybody who's interested in RF motor racing, if there happens to be anybody listening who is serving, please take note of the names that you see and reach out and get in touch with us. And if there's anybody out there who's interested in a career in the RAF or any of the services, being able to get time away from work to go and be involved in something you're passionate about is certainly a privilege, and to be part of a team, to work with Chris over the last few years and getting as many people from our service into motor racing has been something we both take great pride in. So if there's anybody who's interested in any way, please get in touch with us somehow. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all the usual places. It's always a pleasure to hear from people. And if you happen to be at any of the events, racing wise, come over and say hello. There's always good coffee on the go. And we do public engagement events all year, air shows, reacts. We've had people at the Formula One. We've had people at Festival of Speed. Autosport is a huge one for us. So yeah, if you ever see us, come and say hello.
I like it. Like I said, we can put all your links and comments and stuff in the bio from this video as well. And to say, guys, if we can certainly send people your way for sure if anyone gets in touch with us as well. So
thank you.
Yeah. Anything to add, Chris?
No, I'm going to go back to wiring. No, I'm going to go back to the workshop where we need to finish off wiring auxiliary lights on the front of BMW 116 Trophy cars.
Well, like I say, guys, you guys go off and do, like I say, Dave, you were pulling fuel out your car a minute ago. So, go and get yourselves ready for the weekend, guys. Like I say, massively, massively appreciate you taking the time out to come and speak to us, guys. It's been a fantastic first show. And like I say, we'll definitely follow up in 2024 for sure. See how you're getting on with all your latest projects for sure.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Right, guys, I'm going to sign off now. So I'm going to put a little intro at the end, or the outro, I guess. But yeah, guys, thank you very much. That's episode 1 done. Guys, thank you. Like, share, comment, get involved. And we'll see you in 3 weeks with our ambassador sign-off show. Guys, I've been Nick Holmes, and our guests, David Russell and Chris Slater, this evening from the RAF Motor Racing Team. Guys, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
See ya.
See you there, guys.
See ya.